Good evening, and welcome to the Board of Selectmen meeting of November 6th, 2013. We have a limited agenda this evening, so we'll start right into it. And the first item on the agenda is the renewal of annual package store and club liquor license. Okay, Mr. Ramsey, Greer, who's going to speak of this? Greer, thank you.
It's time for the renewal of the annual liquor licenses for the town of Dover with the Alcoholic Beverages Control Commission. At the state level, we have two licenses here in Dover. One is a package store license for Higgins Wine and Spirits, and the other is a club license for the American Legion. We have asked the police chief, and he is recommending renewal of both licenses. He said he's not had problems that are of concern to him with either of those entities.
Okay, thank you.
Didn't there used to be wine sold across the street at the Dover Cafe?
There was at one time, and
Has that lapsed, or?
turned over a couple of times
Okay.
since then. I think when it became Isabella's, they chose not to renew the license, and so that one has not been renewed in a couple of years.
Now, with these applications, I remember there were fees involved, and we haven't changed those fees in a number of years. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
And can you tell us what the fees are?
Sure, for the American Legion, the annual fee is $625, and for Higgins, it's $1,250. And we have collected those in anticipation of approval by the board.
And the difference, obviously, is one is a store and one is a club? Is that
That's
the difference?
correct.
Okay.
Yes, and also, with regard to the Legion, we've had the building inspector sign off on the building is required by the state, and also they have presented us with evidence that they are carrying liquor liability insurance.
Okay. Robin, for your information, we did a quick comparable study a couple of years ago on the surrounding towns and what they charged, and this was right somewhat in the middle, so that's why we didn't change it. With that being said, then I will make the motion to renew the annual package store and club license for one Higgins Wine and Spirits. The licensee name is Avatar, Inc. And the second is the American Legion, which is formerly known as the George B. Preston, Post 209 American Legion, for the years 2014. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
All of us?
Yes, please.
Okay. Would it make sense in the future to have the chief sign these also? Or it doesn't matter?
I don't think it matters,
Okay.
as long as we have some,
Because, yeah, it's funny, because we ask for input and when we talk about it, but there's no record of it, I think.
Well, the minutes reflect it, right?
Very good, Rob, thank you. All right, as we talk about the minutes. Okay, good. Thank you. As we move right along. Second agenda item is request by the Council on Aging to accept expend gift monies. Okay. Greer, I believe you have the green light again. Thank you.
Yes, I've spoken with the Council on Aging Director, and since the board voted to approve acceptance and expenditure, I should say, gift monies related to certain ongoing activities, there have been a couple of instances where the expenditures fall outside of those 5 categories specified by the board. The first one is expenditure of monies by Baypath, of a Baypath grant. This is a reimbursement from Baypath for the July wages for the volunteer coordinator. Before it moved over to being funded by a formula grant, it was being funded by this special grant, and so the directors asking for approval to expend those monies or to accept them. They've already been expended. And the second one is for a special trip by the Council on Aging. It's to a show called In the Mood, and the Council on Aging has collected $975 from people who are interested in attending the show, and after the show occurs, expects to receive an invoice from Sherburne Council on Aging to pay for their half. It's being upfront, it's being covered by the Sherburne Council on Aging.
Great, thank you, Greg. These are both great examples of why they should have the revolving fund.
Right.
And to that extent, I was in the Council on Aging meeting yesterday, and they asked that if the Board of Selectmen would put that up as a special warrant article at next town meeting, and I said I would follow up with that, and it sounds like a great idea. That being said, would anyone like to make a motion?
I move we accept the Bay Path grant of 20808 and the In the Mood trip funds of $975.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you. We don't have to sign anything, do we, Graham?
No,
No.
it will be reflected in the minutes, and a copy will go to the treasurer and the accountant.
Excellent. Okay, on to the next agenda item, which is the town report. And annually, we send out a letter to all the Dover town officials for information to be supplied into the town report. Now, specifically, Dave, do you want to talk about this, or is that enough?
Here again.
Where again?
I've been speaking with Kathy Weld, who's the chair of the Town Report Committee and has been for several years now, and we've set up a schedule for the town report, which is in keeping with the schedules, the timeline in recent years. The Town Report Committee is asking that the Board of Selectmen send out the notice regard to boards and departments asking for their 2013 town report. Send it out tomorrow or by the end of the week, and then the Town Report Committee will follow up with the instructions and for, specific instructions for formatting of the report, as well as the reports of those boards and departments from last year to use as a template, and those should be sent out by November 15th.
Okay.
And all of those reports will be due back to the Town Report Committee at their email box by Friday, January 10th, 2014, or earlier.
I have a funny type question. From our last town meeting, it was observed that one of the departments was not complying with Massachusetts general laws and what should be in a town report. That being said, should we instruct, or how does the different departments, and you have elected officials who basically volunteers, who aren't professional public employees, how do they know what is supposed to be in the town report? How can we educate them by either verbalizing it here?
Well, this is the first instance in the 15 years I've been here where it was pointed out that something was supposed to be included was not. And I've asked the town accountant to make sure it's part of her financial reports, because that's where the data comes from anyway. So
Okay.
that should be covered from.
Okay, so we have taken the steps to avoid that same type of issue? Okay. Carol, do you have anything to say on that? Or was I reading your mind on that one?
Again?
Yeah. I don't want to get into that same conversation. Good. Do we have to take any action on this grant? Other than, I have to sign it obviously, but,
No, if you sign it, we can make sure that it goes out to all of the
Great.
boards and departments tomorrow.
thank you. I actually enjoy our town report. and I know it's sent to everyone, and...
You learn a lot,
Absolutely.
It's a great record.
right?
And I really encourage all the townspeople to, take a nice Sunday afternoon and read it, you know?
I have them going back 15 years.
Well, you're getting old, that's all.
Well.
That's- Okay, thank you. Next agenda item is the fiscal 2015 Selectmen's capital budget, and this is specific to the library re-roofing request. Dave, this is probably yours.
This is mine, Mr. Chairman. Carl does an annual review of all of our roofs, and he had put this one on in fiscal 15 because its warranty expires, the useful life's 20 years. In this year's annual inspection, and we're talking with the roofing contractor, we think that we can buy a couple more years with this project by simply doing some maintenance to the splitting seams on the roof itself. So our recommendation would be to move that $60,000 out to fiscal 2017. Again, subject to evaluation annually. But we think for short money, we can get the split seams repaired and prevent some leaks from occurring.
Okay.
And the seam repair can be done through the building maintenance,
It's about $1,600.
1,600.
Yeah, short money.
So,
And you'll do it before the winter?
Probably not for spring now.
Okay.
okay, now, I'm looking at a capital budget request form that we have from our last meeting to this one. And
So this is item number
item
5.
number 5, it still has the 60,000 in it,
Right, and they're recommending moving it out.
To 2017.
2017. Okay, did we vote on that last week?
We did not vote, you did authorize the budget to go to capital budget, but you have not voted.
Okay, so we just
yet.
authorized
A
this
couple of
revision.
Right, so we have a capital budget meeting
We have some large
Monday
items that
morning.
we haven't
Right.
voted on.
And I just explained to them that this was not voted upon yet, and we're waiting for some, TBDs.
Right.
And do we have a updated pricing on the protective agency building reconfiguration?
No.
Not yet. When do we expect that?
Hopefully next week or so.
Oh, good.
Try to have it for tonight.
I know you've taken a tour.
I have.
Carol, I believe you have too.
Yes.
I was gonna wait for the capital budget committee tour.
So that was just scheduled
Oh, good.
for 7:30 a.m.
Hmm.
on November 13th.
Is that a Friday?
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
Wednesday,
It's a
That's a Wednesday?
because the 12th is the
November
Tuesday.
13. Friday the 13th.
Wednesday the
Oh,
13th.
oh,
Wednesday's the 13th, December. Actually,
December is the
December,
13th?
Friday, the 13th
okay, so November 13th.
is a
at-
Wednesday.
At 7:30 a.m. is the
Right.
tour. And they're gonna meet at the...
At the police station. Yep.
police station. Good. Good, good, good. I will absolutely be there.
So we're not going to vote on this
No.
roofing thing? We're just going to accept the recommendation to move
Well,
it out? Or
we
do
can vote on it that way when we can just, so we can just tell the capital budget to committee to officially.
Move it? Okay.
Yeah.
So I move we approve moving the $60,000 for re-roofing the flat roof of the library from fiscal year 15 to fiscal year 17, with the understanding that there'll be some seam repair maintenance and that there'll be an annual inspection of the roof.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And when, Dave, I don't want to put you on the hot spot here, but we talk about the to-be-determined pricing. Okay, so we have the reconfiguration of the protective services entranceway, police dispatch area. We have the rehabbing of the 2 public restrooms in the Carroll Community Center. Would that be forthcoming also in a week or so? Or?
Well, we have received a proposal to prepare a budget and conceptual design for the bathrooms. We have not received the proposal to refresh the numbers on the dispatch area. We need to see those to see whether we can afford to do both. We've already authorized the $6,000 for the overhead door work at the fire station. We only have-
The engineering of it?
the engineering.
Yes.
And we only have, I think, a combined $12,000 for this kind of work in the budgets. So we may have to look to another source of funds. But I'm waiting for that other number
Or
first.
reserve fund.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm wondering on the bathroom thing, that, source of funds aside for a moment. You know, as we talked about the other day, and I think we talked about at CMAC, you know, those are huge rooms.
Two of them are really big.
Yeah, that really require, you know, probably 25 to 30% of the space that's there now. And it might be beneficial for us to have, and us, I mean, us, the Selectmen and CMAC or whatever, to sort of have a general discussion about what we might be able to use that additional space for before we have Don going off, putting together plans and spending money for something that we may or may not be interested in doing. We should be giving him some direction as to what to do with the space.
Well, typically, we do that, Carl and I,
Oh, okay.
and then he gives us his thoughts on what would make sense given our desire to retrofit those bathrooms for the current uses as opposed to the old elementary
Okay.
school uses.
I agree with Carol. that
It certainly will be iterative.
You could probably give up 2/3 of each of
Oh,
those
yeah,
rooms.
we definitely plan to not, we plan to consolidate the restroom function, obviously.
Okay, good. So you have that in mind, 'cause that's a good point, Carol, though. You know, I would love to see those restrooms fixed this year, in the next fiscal year. The building is becoming more and more important to the townspeople and the employees and our tenants. And the shape of those facilities are not acceptable. Okay. That being said, that's the only item we have to really speak about this evening in capital budget, and we'll revisit the pricing and the voting on certain items on our next meeting. Anything else on that, Carol? Robin?
No.
Thank you, Bill. Okay, on to other business. We have special license this evening, one. It's funny how in the end of the summer and the early fall, there's so many of them, the weddings and
Wedding
social
season's
season.
over.
Yes.
It's definitely cyclical.
We have one special license to be approved this evening, and that is the Church of Dover on November 9th. And that looks like a wedding, so. And the chief has signed it, so he's authorized it, good. So with that in mind, I will make a motion to approve this special license. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. The next item under other business is a prior notice for the highway maintenance. Dave, can you speak to this?
I couldn't, Mr. Chairman, but Mr.
Oh,
Dugan.
yeah, wow.
This is your night.
It's your
really
night,
I
Rick.
guess so. So which one, highway
It is the
maintenance?
prior
The
notice for
prior-
the
Yes.
highway maintenance.
Yeah, there are actually two prior notices this evening, and they're related to the move for the clothing allowance from the expense side of the budget to the salary side. That way the taxes are taken out. So we had not budgeted for the clothing allowance on the salary side, so we're putting in prior notices to put the warrant committee on notice that we may need a reserve fund transfer before the end of the fiscal year for that purpose.
But the net cost is zero to the town, because we're not going to be
That's-
spending it in the expense
that's right.
side.
Right.
That's right.
It's just a classification
Yeah, that's
issue,
right.
correct?
But
Yeah.
it does, correct me if I'm wrong, this was an expense that was appropriated at town meeting, but this will be salaries going forward?
Yes.
So
That's correct.
that's the big difference here, the net is there, okay.
Right.
It moves from the expense side to the
Okay.
salary side. And you'll be seeing prior notices from building maintenance for the same reason.
Park and
from
rec,
Park and Rec
right.
as well.
That's right.
Okay, so net, then,
Well, it's
so
not-
the other
it's
side
not-
of it will come back to free cash, in theory?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
But net, it's not break even because you have FICA.
Like, right.
Right, yeah, yes, thank you.
I move we approve a prior notice of $3,500 for highway maintenance and $700 for solid waste for clothing allowance.
So it's $350, right, not 35?
Well, highway, it says 3,500.
3,500 for highway,
Oh,
and only 700 in solid waste.
oh, okay, all
So the
right.
number of people involved, obviously.
Oh, it was $700 per 5 employees.
Yeah,
Okay, I get that. Sorry, Carol.
Quite all right?
okay.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Here you go, Jim.
I was in the Park and Rec meeting this morning, and Mr. McTavish started to speak of this, and I don't know if he's clearly understands what this prior notice should be about.
We can speak with him just to
Thank you.
make sure that he understands what he needs to do, sure.
Okay, as we swiftly move along in record time,
Do you want a medal? Gold star?
yeah. Next agenda item is the citizens' comments, and
Seeing there are no citizens.
seeing there are no citizens, I will open the floor to the citizens involved. Anything?
No.
Carol? Okay. Well, that, then I'll entertain a motion for adjournment then.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you and good night.